Welcome back to the potty, everyone. Um, we hope you've enjoyed this season thus far.
Hello.
Today is sort of exciting. We're gonna have a throwback to one of the classics. It's
Three of the classics.
yes, and everyone should know what they are. It's Back to the Future. 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. One, two, and three. These are for sale.
Love it.
Just gonna start peddling on the podcast.
I mean, why not, right?
So, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
I think it's me this time who tells us the brief overview.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So Back to the Future is a movie set in 1985, where the main character is friends with a mad scientist who creates a time machine out of a vehicle, a DeLorean, and he goes back in time accidentally 30 years to 1955, and he starts messing up the timeline. Like his mom has a crush on him instead of his dad now, and there's a whole lot of hijinks that I'm pretty sure everyone's seen the movie, and if you haven't, go watch it. It's a literal classic. You know, on Stardust, I mentioned Stardust was a perfect movie. I think I would consider Back to the Future also a perfect movie. Not the sequels, but Back to the Future one.
You took it right out of my mouth. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't think number 2, number 3 are quite up to par, but I do like the whole series, how it like connects.
Yeah. So I guess the whole story, like number one, is about him just like fixing the timeline so he can go back to a normal timeline. And he still changes the timeline, obviously. If you step on a butterfly, the whole timeline changes. Um, Number two is about going to the future to 2015, to try to save his son from making bad decisions. And then number three is about going back to 1885 and then trying to get back home to 1985.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly.
Yeah, summed it up enough that you should go watch it if you don't know the story. And if you do know the story, we don't even need to do those.
Where's my hoverboard?
Right?
So rude.
Come on, Elon.
Yeah, I think that this was one of the first well done time travel movies where it didn't make the future seem like some dystopian future.
It still kind of did.
Kind of, but not like, well, I think that's part of the story in number 2, but
Well, the part of the story in number two is how it could have been a dystopian future from Biff in 1955. But I'm
could
saying
have.
like even in 2015, like his grandson or whatever, I don't remember his name, Buff or Spiff or something stupid. He has like bionic arms and stuff. That's kind of dystopian.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, why do people love it or hate it?
Well, I love it because it's just a feel good movie. It has adventure, it has space and time, it has lovable characters. I mean, Leah Thomas, come on. She's
Crispin
like,
Glover.
yeah, well,
I think he's a great actor. I love the stuff he does.
okay, but have you seen his interview on Conan? This is a little off the beaten path.
No, I haven't. I've heard he's a weird guy in real life, and that's
He
fine.
is. That interview was like the weirdest interview. If anyone's in for like a who is Kristen Glover, maybe watch the movie first and then go watch the interview.
Yeah. I've seen him in stuff where I'm like, oh, that's the dad from Back to the Future. And he does a really good job in that movie too, whatever movie I'm watching.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Um, I think something else that I really like in Back to the Future, they do a lot of like foreshadowing within Back to the Future. And I think they were
Mm-hmm.
actually one of the first ones to really introduce that into their movies. Not like first idea ever thought of it, but they did it well. Where like they would have like background clues foreshadowing to like what was going to happen in the end,
Mm-hmm.
or like the characters like say something that reverts to like the end. They were really good at calling back and forth.
Yeah, like when he first meets the mayor in the diner in 1955, and he's like, "You're the mayor," and he's like, "Yeah, I'll be mayor."
Yeah.
It's but like before that happened, like there were like posters of like re-elect Mayor Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and like when you compare it to other movies that have foreshadowing, like Star Wars, the original trilogy, like their foreshadowing isn't really foreshadowing. It's almost like they like watched the movie and they're like, "Hey, we could turn this into something," which is
Yes.
like really what they did. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure George Lucas wouldn't have had Leia kiss Luke.
Yeah, I don't think they did it in the book.
I don't think there was a book. I think he wrote the script.
Well, yeah, but they did write a book about it later on. I
Which
don't
book? Are you
Star
talking about the
Wars.
newer books?
No, Star Wars.
That's a whole episode that we need to do.
I agree though. Like this was planned out in Back to the Future, and then like there's a lot of movies that like do a callback, but it's more out of convenience than it is like planned.
Yeah, well, and we know they at least had number two planned. I think they had all three planned right from the get go, though.
I think they did too.
I don't know. I'm not a big enough movie buff to know for sure.
I know that it was created because he was looking at his yearbook or his dad's yearbook, and he looked at his dad and he was like, "Hmm, I wonder if me and my dad would have been friends."
Uh, what's his name? Michael J. Fox or
No, the
just the
creator,
writer?
just the writer, the director, I think also.
Hmm.
Um, and then they like came up with the title Back to the Future, and they showed it to another director. I don't remember his name, but the director was like, "I don't like the title."
Stupid.
Yeah. So he was like, he's like, "You should change it Spaceman from Pluto." And he like gave them suggestions on how to like do that, and they were like, we'll just keep Back to the Future."
Yeah, like Spaceman from Pluto. It's not about a spaceman from Pluto.
Yeah. He was
Like
saying,
even when he talks to his dad, he's Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan.
yes. Oh, so the fact that you said that, that's one of the suggestions. Instead of that line, they would have said, "You look like a spaceman from Pluto," which would have been like a call to like the title.
I disagree with the title.
So did the writers.
But like also it has nothing to do with Pluto. It's all about the future and like time travel. Like Back to the Future at least lets you know that it's about time travel.
Yeah.
Like it's literally about going back to the future.
Yeah.
You can't do that without time travel. You know what you're getting into.
I would also just say, and maybe it was because they were traveling to the future and then to the past and like the present time, the style is pretty rocking in all of it.
Yeah.
Like shout out to the costume designer in that movie because I mean, people dressed as Marty McFly today and Doc. Like people like not day to day. I see your eyes thinking.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like yeah, people will like for Halloween,
That's what I
but you
mean.
but you don't see people. I guess you do see people walk around in puffy vests.
Yeah. That's more in Colorado though.
I dressed my daughter in a puffy vest last year.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
She was so cute.
Not anymore though. Just kidding.
Yeah. Now that she can't wear the puffy vest, come on. No, she's adorable and you know it.
I know it. Oh man, those FaceTime calls I live for. Anyway, culture of the fans. If you were walking in a crowd, how would you know that somebody's a Back to the Future fan?
If they have a child, it's an
An
age
adult
thing.
child or a little child?
Both.
Yep.
Yeah. We're talking boomers to millennials here.
Yes, I would say our parents, and I know for a fact my in-laws are like huge Back to the Future fans.
Mm. Um, I well, obviously we have the same parents, so we know that. I'm pretty sure my in-law. I know one of my in-laws loves Huey Lewis in the news. He's the guy who sing the band who sings like The Power of Love and stuff.
Hmm.
So I just assume he'd also like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. The music.
So good.
Iconic. Both like The Power of Love and then like the score where it's like do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah. Oh,
We're gonna
I
get
just got
sued for me
chills.
singing that because I did it so well.
Some YouTube algorithm is gonna pick it up, send it to the Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Is it Warner Bros. Who owns it?
I think so. Warner Brothers or Fox.
I hope it's Fox. I hope it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Let's
know
look
something
it up.
interesting?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
So originally they were going to put in a chimp as like instead of Einstein the dog, they were going to have a chimp, a chimpanzee, and the studio, whichever studio it was, Warner Brothers or
Fox.
Fox, it was
Universal.
Fox. Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
it says filming with Fox, but that's Michael J. Fox.
Oh, so it's
It's
Universal.
Universal. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so yeah, they came back to the writers and they were like, we don't like the idea of a monkey. And he was like, but why? And they were like, no movie with a chimp has ever made money. And he was like, well, what about all these movies? He starts listing them, and he was, and then the writers go, or the studio goes, those are orangutans. So they were like, no chimps. So that's why they have Einstein the dog.
Oh, good for Einie.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, people love it because it's set in the 80s and because the music is dope and because there's a dog and not a chimp. Anything else?
It's timeless, literally.
Oh, play on words.
Thanks.
Cool. Do you want to get into theories a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you have any theories?
Uh, well, I don't know if this is a theory or more just a wish, but I wish that they would make another one.
Well, they can't.
I know that they can't because Michael J. Fox has restrictions and like I know that he can't, but a part of me wishes that like maybe like a grandson or something would meet Doc or maybe Doc's kids.
So if they were to do it again, do you think Doc would still be traveling around in his train?
The thing is, I think his name is Christopher Lloyd.
Mm-hmm. Well, in real life, yeah.
Yeah, so he's still alive.
Yeah.
Leah Thompson is still alive. Michael J. Fox is still alive. And I think Kristen Glover is still alive.
What does this have to do with the vehicle?
Oh, what did you? Oh, the train. Yeah, the train. No, but I'm just saying, like, they're gonna miss a window, right? Like, they're gonna like these actors are getting older, and I hate that I'm saying that because if either like your mom or dad watches this, they're gonna be like, "Hey, we're not that old," you know. But like, but I mean, like, they are getting older, and I know that like Christopher Lloyd is not looking good, and so like they're gonna miss that window of maybe wanting to like invite them back to this to making another one.
Yeah. Hear me out.
Okay.
Christopher Lloyd is the only one they really have to worry about.
Yes.
And they could totally do a movie where he could like fly his time machine like to like today kind of thing, and he could be like mortally wounded already. It happened off screen. We don't know what happened. And he just like runs into somebody and like basically they now inherit the time machine.
You don't think his kids would inherit it or his wife?
Did you not listen to my story? He's mortally wounded. So he was somewhere in time, got mortally wounded, busted out of there. Okay. We don't know what happened. It could be something about like, go save my wife and my kids, or go save my kids because my wife is already dead.
Or go save time?
Yeah. Well, obviously
That's
that's
super
implied.
cheesy. But yeah.
But I'm saying like there is a way that they could reboot the whole franchise without any of the main characters.
100%, I agree on that. Yeah, I agree. I just think that in order to get the older fans on board, there has to be a callback.
It starts off with Doc Brown.
I agree. I agree. I'm just saying they're missing that window, and I feel like you agree also.
Yeah. But like it also could start off with some rando actor who could be one of Doc Brown's kids.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, like the window will literally be open forever.
Like, think about it. All right. Right. Star Wars. Sorry that we call it. Star Wars is just such a good model to look at. They made the original 3. Then they were like, hey, we're going to do a prequel series. And then everyone was like, well, those are going to suck. But now look at everyone. Everyone is like praising them. They love them. Everybody likes to look back at them. So if they were to do that with Back to the Future, where they were able to do a story connected to the original story, but not the original story, I think that they have that like it's gold. They could do that.
Okay, but the prequels are more connected than the sequels are. And what I'm suggesting is something more along the lines of the sequels, where like we introduce someone, a Rey type, who's not a Skywalker. Okay, let that sink in. She's not a Skywalker. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm getting mad just thinking about the whole sequel series now, but
Oh my gosh.
frick
That's
this little droid.
hilarious.
I have a Ray and a Finn too. I should have put those up.
That's funny.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm suggesting that they like reboot it with a different main character who's not related in any way to the other main characters. Doesn't even
Yeah.
have to be from Hidden Valley. Not Hidden Valley, that's a ranch.
Not like an actual physical farm ranch. It's like the salad
It's a
dressing.
salad dressing, yeah. What's it called though?
Oh, the
Hill
town?
Hill Valley,
Hill Valley.
Yeah. So like the new main character could be from not Hill Valley even, except it would make sense for Doc to go back to Hill Valley. So maybe they should be from Hill Valley.
I mean, they could, but it could just be another family in Hill Valley. Like,
Yeah.
it could be like Marty's nephew, but it doesn't have to be related. That's the thing. I agree. Like, I personally would like to see like a Back to the Future type where they maybe go back to like the 90s, right?
It would be funny if they had if they were able to get Michael J. Fox or Doc and like go back in time to 2015, but like actual 2015.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the heck? This is not the 2015 we visited.
Yeah. And then just be like, oh, that was a video game. Or I don't know, like
It's just something stupid.
just be like, yeah, like they could just totally dismiss it and be like, this is the 2015. Well, wrong time anyway. And then they just like switch the dial again and then like
Yeah.
speed off.
Just like, where's Jaws? Where's the hoverboards?
Yeah. And you see somebody on like the one with the wheels that like leans forward and just goes,
The segways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's the oh, I see what you're saying. The two-wheel ones
Yeah, the
that can
one
like
that like
spin and
you
stuff.
can buy for
Yeah.
Christmas
Oh,
and stuff.
here's the hoverboard.
Yeah.
Stupid. There's your hoverboard. We don't need to
Yeah.
wait for Elon.
As far as the style, I mean, yeah, that's happened all the time. Like just like show like a runway model or something, you know?
Okay, I was asking about the train earlier because if they were to do a sequel, I feel like a train would be too cumbersome.
No, I agree. And I feel like he would have upgraded because they only used the train to get out and then he upgraded the train and then they liked living in the train. But if he's like passing it on to somebody, that somebody could like install it into something else.
Oh, he could come back in time, like come back from wherever he is in time and like literally crash the train and like only the time like engine is
Mm-hmm.
like
With the flux capacitor.
yeah, so then so he could like basically impart enough wisdom on whoever to put the flux capacitor into like some sort of car from today, which would get a Tesla. It's got to be a Tesla. And then so Elon, make this sequel.
The second time you've asked Elon something today.
He's one of our 43 subscribers.
We just know it.
We just know it. But it's not actually him. It's his X account that follows us, you know.
Yeah.
We're kind of a big deal.
Honestly, though, I think Tesla would fit right in the terms of like which vehicle they're using.
Also,
I feel
for
like
how quick it could get up to 88 miles per hour.
the fact that it can self-drive. Yeah. I mean,
that's got to be the new time machine, and that's got to be Model X because the wings come up.
yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh!
Perfect. Wow. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Why hasn't anyone hired us?
Why has nobody hired us? We have a creative energy.
Yeah, I just feel like Back to the Future would be, especially in like this era of reboots, right? Like they gotta bring it back. They gotta bring it back soon. But maybe, and I mean this in the best way, like maybe they are waiting for Michael J. Fox to pass away, whether that takes like 20 years or something, just out of respect to him. But because I know he doesn't like to act anymore, like his Parkinson's has gotten too severe. So I know like that's the thing, but he's still alive. He's still doing well. It's just that he can't control the shakes as much.
Yeah, but he does like public speak and stuff. And like they could totally write Parkinson's into his character like they did with Iceman in Maverick.
Yeah, and it would bring awareness to Parkinson's, which I think he's always an advocate for.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have to be on screen that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just a cameo. They totally could do it.
And everyone loves him.
But here's the thing. How bad do you actually want a Back to the Future sequel?
Here's the thing. If you had asked me just out of the blue without us preparing for this like sequel or this podcast, I'd probably be like, oh, it'd be okay. You know, like I don't know if I'd be on board right away. I guess I'd have to see like the trailer or something. But I would be a lot more open to it than a Top Gun sequel. And I love the Top Gun sequel.
I think I'd be more open to a Top Gun sequel because that's the only sequel. Whereas Back to the Future already has a trilogy.
Yeah, but if they announced a new trilogy, like people got psyched for the sequel series. It wasn't the best series, I admit that. But they got psyched.
It could have been.
Psyched or hyped? Hyped. They got hyped.
Yeah. But because of that sequel series, people are over sequels.
Yes and no. Like they announced the Ray movie coming out. That's supposed to be a 15 years set.
And I haven't met a single person who's excited for it.
Hello.
I haven't met a single person with taste when it comes to the characters of Star Wars who's excited for it.
I'm genuinely very excited for it.
I'll only be excited for it if Grogu's actually going to be grown up.
Okay, we are putting this to bed. Next episode, we're talking about the sequel series because we have hinted at it far too long, and I need to throw my defense out there. Is it great? No, I agree. It is not a great series, but it could have been.
It could have been. I've read plenty of like, this is what Disney was planning on doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So all I'm saying is let me at least throw that out there because in my head, that's how it actually happened.
Okay. So I forgot what we were even talking about with today's subject.
Do you want a Back to the Future?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's like, I feel like if there was an announcement for a Back to the Future sequel, I'd a little bit be like, come on. Like, we don't really need it.
No, you don't need it.
But I guess it would depend on like the actors, the director, and yeah, I guess I'd have to see the trailer. When push comes to shove, I'm a movie slut, so I would probably love it. So we spent quite a bit of time on talking about a hypothetical sequel.
Yes.
real quick, I have heard a theory about Back to the Future that I wanted to discuss.
Okay.
Some people think that Marty actually died twice in the series.
When?
So the first time is when Biff is chasing him in the tunnel when he's on the hoverboard, but he's like back in time in 1955.
Mm-hmm.
So this is in number two. He's like going and like he's obviously not as fast as the car, and the car is gonna get him. And then Doc Brown appears out of nowhere with the flags. So he like grabs the flags and like gets pulled away. How did Doc Brown know to be there?
You're saying that Marty passed away or died, and
Yeah,
then
Marty
Doc
Marty
found
got
out.
got. Marty got. Doc found out. Doc went back in time to save Marty from getting got.
Ooh, I do like that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
What's the other time that he dies?
The other time is when Doc shows up at his hanging and shoots the rope.
Oh,
So some people think that Doc just like happened to be strolling through town and saw a hanging Marty and like had to go back in time. I don't like this one though because Doc would already have a time machine then. Like
yeah.
if Doc were to have saved Marty and
Because
Marty's like,
isn't
I
that
gotta
whole
get back
like,
to the future, and then he'd be like, oh, okay, I just used this time machine to save your freaking life.
yeah,
Yeah. So I like the one, I don't like the other.
that is sort of cool to think about though, because they are like best friends.
Yeah, and it's just kind of cool to think about like how many times could Doc like go back in time and stuff and
Yeah,
just like alter crap.
yeah, I like that.
Um, how do you feel about their time concept?
How if you start to change it, you start to disappear in the future.
Okay, so Back to the Future's the way they kind of view time is where you go back in time, you can alter the future and you can go back to the new future basically. Whereas like Harry Potter, the timeline is finite, set in stone. Like Harry and Hermione do not change the timeline. There's no possible way for them to have changed the timeline. If Harry was not there to cast a Patronus to save Harry, Harry would have died,
I see what
making
you
it
mean.
so Harry could not go back to save Harry. So that's pretty significant evidence that the timeline is linear and finite, and it completely disproves Cursed Child. Um, but Back to the Future is like you can like change the timeline. There's like a multiverse basically, but I guess it's not really even a multiverse. It's still one timeline.
I'm a big fan of linear timeline.
Set in
That
stone.
yeah, that if somebody had traveled back in time and they had done something, it would already be happening as it's happening. That's the only way time makes sense to me. Because like for me to make an action, for somebody to go back in time, for me to like potentially switch my action, I don't think that that's real. Like that would be way too easy to switch things. Why wouldn't there be more people going back in time? Like I also am just not a big fan of the cursed child. So I think originally I would have been okay with it. I think I would have loved it. But then like seeing what the cursed child has done with it, I'm like, that's not the case. And I've like switched boats completely.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
um like I guess Marvel sort of has the linear like timeline. Sort of. No, not really because Captain America goes back or whatever.
they have a very Back to the Future timeline.
Yeah, and I just don't like that either.
Well, that's what's created their whole next phase.
Yeah, except they got rid of Black Widow, so now I'm not a big fan of it at all. No, not Black Widow. So sorry. Let me start that rant over again. Scarlet Witch. They got rid of Scarlet Witch.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No, they
Well,
didn't.
okay, they said that they did, but
Go watch it when the building falls. There's a little red
no, they just came out with an
explosion.
announcement
Yeah,
that.
okay, like I believe that.
Well, I'm just saying, Elizabeth Olsen. has like, and Marvel or whatever didn't renew her contract. But you're right. They're probably leading up to something to be like, we got to trick them, but everyone sort of knows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, but that's the thing though. Cursed Child and Back to the Future both have the same time travel concepts, but Back to the Future does it way better. Partly because Cursed Child is ruining a beloved franchise
Mm-hmm.
and not following already previously established time travel rules. I think that's really what bugs me about it is that it like ignores the time travel rules that were already set in place.
Yeah. Because like, there's always that argument of like, why didn't they go back and then like shoot Voldemort as a baby?
Yeah. But I mean, at that point, you're just a child murderer.
Yeah. Yep. That also poses a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of time travel,
Mm-hmm.
this feels like we might be getting into babies a little bit here. And like, there's other stuff I want to talk about, but we're on this track, so I'm going to take it. So we've talked about Cursed Child. We've talked about Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man into the multiverse slash across the multiverse slash beyond the multiverse. That's another, it's not time travel, but it's still like plays on the same concepts as Back to the Future.
Yes.
Yeah. And they do it really well.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like especially things like so in the newest one, spoilers for Across the Spider-Verse. Um, you've seen it, right? Yeah, yeah, you
Across
saw
or
it.
into the Spider-Verse?
Both.
Okay.
You've seen both.
Yeah.
Spoilers for everyone else. Uh, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, is that
Mm-hmm.
his number? Yeah.
Yeah.
He like talks about the canon events that like have to happen kind of thing. And I think it's cool that he like respects the time and this is like kind of going back to like offing Voldemort as a baby. Like Voldemort becoming Voldemort might be a canon event. And
Yeah.
like if you think about it, like it's not necessarily might be a canon event, but it's like how many things in the Harry Potter world are the way they are because of him, because of the bad things that he did. And I know people don't want to hear it, but like in our own timeline that we currently physically live in, like how many bad things have happened that have put our society on a track that it is for right now, you know?
Yeah.
Here is what I'm talking about. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Harambe. This is a whole thing,
Yeah.
and you know it.
Yes, I do. But that wasn't what I was expecting you to say. I should have seen it coming.
People think that Harambe either like so getting I was gonna say killing Harambe either put us on the wrong timeline or it's a canon event.
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
What is it? Because like if you went back in time and prevented this kid from falling into Harambe's cage,
Mm-hmm.
how much of society would be so different now?
It's true, I guess. I don't know. I don't because it didn't happen, so I don't know what it'd be like.
I own a pair of Nike socks with Harambe on it. That's how much he penetrated society.
I don't know. Like honestly, I think somebody who okay. I think Marvel is doing really well in terms of like the cartoon Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. That's
The
because it's
live
Sony.
yeah. The live one, not so good, but I digress. I would say though, Flash, the Super Flash dealt with canon events way before way before Back to the Future, because that was the Flash's like series.
Yeah, that's
Like
true. They didn't call them canon events, but it was like,
he
I mean, it's
always had to have
Flashpoint.
his
Yeah,
mom die. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I don't know. Have you seen the newest Flash?
I haven't.
Um, Well, then I won't really go into it too much other than to say it deals with his canon event a lot.
I mean, it's a Flashpoint movie, isn't it?
Are you gonna watch it?
I might like. I mean, we talk about this and everything. It's like I watch movies with Janessa, so it's like I'm more selective with what I watch now. So it's like I'm interested in Flash, but like not enough to like use one of my like movie times with Janessa to go watch it.
Okay, well then I probably won't tell you what I was thinking about then, because
Just tell me. I'm familiar enough with Flashpoint and like I know enough about this movie that I super
okay.
won't care.
So spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen The Flash, but if you don't care, go ahead and keep listening. Um, in the end, so he like gets knocked out when he's trying to reset his timeline. He gets knocked into another multiverse where he meets another Barry, and this Barry is not very helpful, and that Barry never gets his powers. And because of that, um, they like realize that Zod is coming to Earth and Superman isn't there, and they're trying to save this Earth. And finally, he realizes that this Earth is supposed to die, and like that's how the movie ends. And so that's something that I feel like some of the time travel like doesn't really focus on sometimes, is that like sometimes it doesn't end out good. Like that canon event, like sometimes if it doesn't happen, like what's the outcome of it? And so like I don't know. It was interesting how they showed it in Flash because like they allowed a timeline to end.
Hmm. Well, and that's where time travel gets like interesting because like it's like the whole multiverse concept and like so like in Back to the Future, let's go Back to the Future because that's what our thumbnail is. So when Marty goes back to 1955 and like changes events, so when he goes back to 1985 and he has a fancy truck and his parents are like happy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Back to the Future. Did it create a split timeline? Is there a timeline or is there just a loop in the timeline kind of thing?
Where they have to live it out, but then come back and live it the way that they.
Yeah, like is it a linear timeline where like Marty has to go back in time and then comes back forward in time and then like there's just like a knot in time right there and then it just keeps going straight? Or did Marty go back in time and then wind up on a different timeline? Which that's actually what Doc Brown like draws on the chalkboard is that there's like two different timelines. So now Marty just exists on another timeline. But then it's like what happened to the Marty on that timeline?
Interesting. He died, like he said earlier.
Well, no, because when Marty at the end of number 1 goes back home, he sees himself drive away and go back in time.
Hmm.
So like where did that Marty go? He had to have gone back to 1955. Did he just like all of a sudden merge with the other one? That's what makes me think it's actually a linear timeline with like a knot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but in terms of timelines, though, you see why I like the linear. It's
Yeah.
just so much easier. There's no knots. There's no like you don't really have to understand it. And I also think it takes a lot more like cleverness in terms of writing for things to be worked out that way.
But this is what I'm saying. Back to the Future actually is I think I'm thinking now that Back to the Future actually is a linear timeline just with a knot. Whereas like Marvel and it sounds like in the Flash, they can jump between timelines, which are multiverses.
Oh, okay. So then yeah, maybe that is why people like it more because it is easier to follow a linear timeline like Harry Potter instead of this jumping around mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, like I mean, so like in Flash, like there's a world that should be saved and a world that should die. But in Back to the Future, the world just is the way it is because of past events, and you can go back and change past events and create a knot in the space-time continuum, I would say, and then go forward.
Hmm, I like that.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I've never thought of that before. This is live reaction, fam.
Same.
Live reaction to this movie from 1985.
I would say it's pretty wild in terms of like I did think it got people thinking about like time and what they could do to switch it. And then after Back to the Future came Butterfly Effect. And then there was like a whole bunch of stuff like different time movies, and
Hmm.
it just became like open. But if somebody said, give me a movie like in a trivia, like top movie that deals with space and time, I think Back to the Future would be the answer.
Well, I think you should just say time, because when you say space and time, I mean,
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. And
I'm like,
yeah,
whoa, what are we talking about here?
but like time travel, yeah, I think Back to the Future would be the one.
Yeah. Um,
But that's like a pop culture baby.
what time travel movies?
Yeah, but like it just made such a significant impact that that's what people associate with time travel. Is Back to the
Are there
Future.
any other time travel movies? Well, okay, there's a book about time travel that I'm sure influenced Back to the Future.
A Wrinkle in Time.
Okay, A Wrinkle in Time may have. That's more of a
I don't
that
know.
that's a
That's just
that's a
because it has
space,
time.
not so much time movie.
Okay, what is it?
The Time Traveler. I think that's what it's called. Here's how old it is. It's in the public domain.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's free to read. It's free to record an audiobook if you so desire, which is how I. Okay, there's a TV show for children called Wishbone.
Scariest show in the whole world.
Because of the time travel episode.
Yes. Is
Yeah,
that what it is about?
that's what the book is. And I decided that I was going to face my fears and listen to that book on audiobook. And it's just as terrifying. It is more terrifying. The time traveler is about this guy in the 1800s who creates a time machine, goes into the future like 10,000 years, and humans have basically evolved to where like there's like these like cannibalistic type humans who live in the underground, and then they farm the other humans up top. That's basically what it's about. And it is terrifying. And the ones who live underground are called Morlocks, and they are the most terrifying thing you'll ever see on Wishbone.
Yeah, why did they write that episode? It's a kids show.
It's because Wishbone is about classic books, and that's a classic book.
Terrifying classic book.
Yeah, it's terrifying, but what can you do?
Like a part of me as an adult wants to go back and watch that.
Yeah, I don't know. We watched Three Musketeers the other day, and then I decided to watch the Wishbone Three Musketeers episode right after. That was pretty fun.
I love that.
But the time travel thing, it scares me to death. They look like orangutans, funny enough.
And Wishbone made money.
Dogs and orangutans, no chimps.
No chimps though.
But yeah, I
I
think like that is like the earliest thing of time travel that I can think of.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, like time travel is I think it has always been like a concept. Like I think everyone always has this thought of like, oh, if I had only known, like it would have been different.
Hmm.
But I think Back to the Future just made it so big. It's like such a big concept in that like everyone just sort of agrees that that's how it should have gone.
Yeah, I think everyone agrees it's the best time travel movie out there. I think it's even better than Avengers.
Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah, even though it's like technically kind of the same concept, but like Avengers took it to the multiverse, and I think Back to the Future took it to not.
Yeah, take it back to a linear.
Yeah.
Um, all right, pop culture babies.
I would say just time travel movies in
Yeah, me
general.
too. That's sort of what we were already talking about.
Yeah.
Eh,
Hoverboards. There are people who've like created like drone type hoverboards. I mean, they're like crazy expensive and like you wouldn't mass produce them.
mhm.
But like the concept of a hoverboard, that's totally a pop culture baby. Nike, I think, came out with self-tying shoes.
Yes.
Um, can't really think of any other. I mean, people want like that pizza thing where you
Yeah,
like
where
it's
it
like a
just
little
puts it in.
Ritz cracker and then it's like a full pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, FaceTime. People talk about like Back to the Future about how like, oh look, we're like doing that now.
Yeah.
This right now. Oh my goodness.
Back to the Future.
Uh, this podcast is a pop culture baby now.
Yay, we made it. Yeah, I think
uh,
that it just did really well at that, at like correctly guessing the future. I mean, obviously there's things that are wrong with it, but like I think it more of like if you say it, people will build it, you know?
yeah, I think it's funny that 3D movies are simultaneously better and worse than what they predicted in the movie.
Yeah. Which is also funny because like their fashion, everyone was like, no, it's not gonna be like that. But then you look at like what they're making on the runways and you're like, this is worse.
Yeah, like I mean, the common folk aren't dressing like Back to the Future was,
No, well,
but
go down to like the New York garment district probably.
yeah, but that's fashion people. That's not common folk.
Yeah, yeah. But was his son a fashion person? We don't know. Maybe.
He's just really into fashion.
Ooh.
Um, I had a couple questions that I don't know where it really fits.
Go ahead.
So besides Back to the Future, oh, actually, no, we can do that at the end. Besides Back to the Future, what is your favorite time travel movie?
Oh, besides Back to the Future?
Yes.
Um, I would probably need time to think about it, but the only one that's like really coming to mind is The Time Traveler's Wife.
I've never seen it, but I've heard it's really good. It's
It
with
is
Christian
really
Bale,
good.
right?
No.
No.
The original Hulk? No, not the original Hulk,
Oh,
but like
Edward Norton. Yeah, that's
no, not Edward Norton. Not the original. He plays the one,
Bana. I don't remember his first name.
yes.
Wow. I forgot
And
that dude existed.
I know. And Rachel McAdams, they play in it.
Oh,
They also
okay.
are they just made a remake on Prime Video with the guy who plays Four in Divergent.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, that one I feel like does it really well. That's a linear timeline. Um I think you would really like it, but I don't think you would go out of your way to watch it.
I've actually wanted to watch it. It just kind of weirds me out that he like talks to like a child.
Yeah, but he doesn't do it in a way that's like romantic, you know, like he just like takes care of her because her parents sort of ignore her.
Hmm.
But it is really good. I do think that their timeline. Oh, can I just spoil the end for you?
Sure.
Okay, spoiler. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the end of Time Traveler's Wife, he actually dies, and he dies like younger, like maybe in like his like late 30s. Well, he had time traveled into the future, and his daughter finds him, and he's like, "Hey, where's mom?" Because he's been dead for like 5 years, and he's like, "Hey, where's mom?" And she's like, "She's in the kitchen. Let me go get her." So she runs in there, and then Rachel McAdams, who's older now, you know, not like super old, but older. She just is like sprinting through the field because she knows that he's only going to be there for like a few minutes. And she gets to him and she's like, why didn't you tell me? I would have been here. I would have been here waiting. And he's like, you can't live your life waiting for a dead man to come. And he's like, you know that I love you. And we've had such a great life together. And like, you know, they say goodbye, they kiss, he disappears. But she gets like that closure where she knows that she may see him again, but maybe not. And I think that's like, it's just a really good story of like showing that linear timeline. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
My favorite one is Timeline,
Oh, oh, oh.
which is also a linear timeline.
That's such a good one. Is Paul Walker
Yeah.
in that one?
Is he? He might be. Gerard Butler's in it.
Yeah, I think Paul Walker's in that. Well,
And
maybe I'm putting my foot in my mouth.
Professor Lupin is in it. I forgot his real name.
It's Professor Lupin.
It's Professor Lupin.
Hmm.
But that one I feel like is a little bit, well, it's not, but I was gonna say it feels more like the whole like if you like went back in time and became your own grandpa kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's still really good. And Paul Walker
But it's
is in it.
not like that, but it feels like that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like the guy goes back in time because he finds his own dead body.
Hmm.
So that's a little weird. I mean, it's obviously not he's becoming his own grandpa, but like
But he didn't know that though.
that's true. But yeah, that's true. That is true. It's a really good movie.
Super good movie.
It's good enough that we watched it in history in eighth grade.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. I'm
Yeah,
jealous. What a
yeah.
heck.
What a hick. Oh, what the heck.
Yeah.
What a hick. That's what I thought you said. I was like, no, she was born in South Africa and was a Canadian citizen.
Whoa. Given the history on our eighth grade, your eighth grade teacher. Oh, wait, no, my eighth grade teacher too. That's funny. I forgot.
You had her too?
Yeah. But she like left
Nice.
halfway through the year. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Scandal.
Woo.
Woo.
That's a whole nother podcast that we'll never do. There's a lot of drama there.
Yeah. So good. Okay. Something from Back to the Future that they predicted that did not happen that you wish that you had. Go.
The pizza.
You take the pizza
100%.
over the hoverboard.
I wish, but here's the thing: skateboards exist, and I don't even skateboard. So,
But you snowboard.
well, flying cars would be pretty cool, but I do not like flying. I found out, like, I hate flying back and forth, and like, it takes me like 2 weeks leading up to it. I just have to get like in a headspace where I'm like, okay, thousands of people fly every day. Life to death ratio is really low, so like, I gotta like convince myself that it's okay, and to
Yeah,
be able to
I
like
don't think
fly.
flying cars are a good idea just because of like how people can't even control. People can't control just the XY axis on their car
Yeah,
well
why are
enough.
we introducing the Z-axis? Come on.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if Tesla can get behind it and all of the flying cars are automated, I think I could get behind it.
No, see, even then, I don't like heights. I hate heights. So for me, I think 100% it'd be the instant food, but like food that like doesn't take up a ton of space.
Yeah, but what I'm more thinking about is like if your car could like kind of hover like 20 feet in the air, you'd probably get used to that.
Well, 20 feet, I won't die.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm
like,
saying. Like, but I won't get behind that unless it's like a fully automated, everything is automated.
well, that would completely change the game, right? Like traffic would be eliminated because people who are like just going through would go up to the top. People who need to like be there would go to the bottom.
Yeah, they would land. Pedestrians could cross whenever they want because the cars are above them.
Yeah. Well, see, that's fine. Whatever. 20 feet, that's not a big deal. But like in Back to the Future, they're like up in the clouds.
Yeah, like the Jetsons.
Yeah, yeah, and that freaks me out. What about you?
Um, so we haven't talked about this at all, so it feels a little bit like cheating because you didn't get a chance to even say this. But his fuel source, Doc Brown's fuel source,
Oh, yeah,
it's like the Mr. Clean or it's not Mr. Clean, but like he just stuffs a bunch of trash
a
into
compost.
yeah, it's basically well, but he throws in a can. You can't compost a can.
No, I would get what you're saying though. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, to just throw your trash in your car and you've got like an infinite fuel source.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Still like the pizza idea though.
Yeah. I like the FaceTime idea.
I wish that exists. All right. Um, how would you get involved?
With Back to the Future, you go watch it. Where do you stream it? It's on Universal, so probably Paramount Plus.
That would be my guess. Um, here, I can look it up really quick.
I'm doing
Honestly,
it too.
um, you could also buy it. They sell it in threes at Walmart for like $15 if you
Hey, it
want it
says
on
it's on
Blu-ray.
Tubi right now for free.
Hey, perfect.
Yeah. Or YouTube on for $15.
Oh, Peacock. It's on Peacock.
Oh, Peacock. Yeah. Oh, I should have known it's on Tubi. I just had to watch it for a treasure hunt.
That's funny. Honestly, like, okay, the whole like like streaming and everything with Back to the Future, you could probably just ask somebody that you know owns it. But
Or if you don't want to talk to people, you could just go to Tubi and watch it with some commercials.
yeah, also that. Just give me options.
That's what I do. Yeah, but like, which one's easier?
Yeah,
So
which
that's how
one?
you join. Okay. Out of 5, what do you give the first movie?
5.
5. Out of 5, what do you give the second movie?
4.4.
3.8.
Oh wow, you went that low. Nice.
I really don't like the second one. And
You're
it's
right.
in
I actually would switch mine. I think I was just like trying to go like 1, 2, 3, but you're right. I don't like the second one scares me more.
well, it's not even scary. It's just like overall like he goes to the future, then he goes back to the like 1955, and then he goes back to his like regular timeline, and then he goes, oh wait, no, he goes to the future, then he goes to his regular timeline. So 2015, 1985, 1955, 1985.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. And it's a little bit like, wait, no, that's not even how it is. 2015, 1985, 1955, 1885. That's how it ends. So I don't like it because of the 1985 section.
Yeah, me too. So
Yeah.
yeah, that one portion, I think that it was just okay.
Yeah.
Number 3.
But I mean, still pretty good. Number 3, I would actually give like a 4.3, 4.5.
The 4.4 was number 3 for me. I think that's what I was like thinking at. It's still good. I think it went back to the roots a little bit more. Like, so if I were to rewatch them, I'd watch number 1, number 3, then number 2 if I were watching all 3 of them.
Or I'd watch number 1, then watch number 2 while like folding laundry or doing dishes or something, and then
Yeah.
watch number 3.
Yeah, I agree. Overall,
Yeah,
really
no.
good.
Yeah. What do you give the series as a whole?
Oh, I hate to do it to it, but a 4.8.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4.8 too. Which is funny that the other two are so low, but they don't give enough weight to bring it down that far.
I think it's because the first one, because you're watching it for the very first time, it sucks you in so much that while the other two aren't good, it's not that I think for those scores, they're rewatch value scores, right? Like, how much do I want to go back and rewatch them? But for the first time watching them, they're not that bad.
That's true. That's a really good point. Yeah. So number 2 and 3 have low rewatch value, but like pretty high watch at least once.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. That's a really good way to explain it.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching our longer than normal episode.
But it's deserved.
Yeah, this one was like actually pretty good. Like it's this long with our format. Like we weren't just rambling. We did ramble about Harry Potter a little bit, but
But also deserved.
also deserved because that is a trash story.
Yes.
That
Throw
is a
that.
story that you put in the gas tank.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Throw that in the compost.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Bye. Wow.
Nerd.